Three things we have to stop doing immediately when it comes to our children and their hair, especially our girls. Let's get into it. Now, I am here dressed up because I just finished filming the movie I was telling you guys about called Trap Set. And I was like, well, I'm still dressed. I put a little lip gloss on, but I'm like, let me go ahead and knock these videos out for this week. I come on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursday. So we're going to get right into the three number one hairstyles that we got to figure out and stop doing. The first one I'm going to talk about is the knockers. We call them the knockers, but the ones where we're putting the ponytails in their hair and we're using the rubber bands on the baby hair, and we're causing so much tension in the beads, the hair beads. I want to talk about this. One of the main things is the whole purpose of me talking about this video is, especially in our community as Black women, we tend to, at a very young age, introduce our children to these different methods of hairstyling, right? Because a lot of us may be too busy working, right? You probably could do hair, but you're too busy. You got maybe too many kids. You're too tired. Maybe you don't know how to do hair, right? Or maybe your life is so busy with you trying to be a mother, wife, whatever the case may be, working. It's too much on you. So normally these are some of the things that we do, but it's actually teaching them bad practices at a very young age, and it's teaching them how to reject their hair and how to avoid their hair. So I want to talk about this, and the reason why I was at a grocery store and I saw three little girls and they all had different things going on with their hair, and I saw the breakage and I saw the hair loss, and I was like, this is a good topic to talk about. So the first little girl, she had a rubber bands, right? And she had looked like they twisted up the hair and then put the beads. So the beads were from the root to the end, which she looked cute, right? I wouldn't put that many beads, but she did look cute. But the problem is the fact that she, the weight of it. Number one, I'm like, man, that's tension on the hair. And then it was already twined tight with the rubber bands. So that's the first thing. The second problem was, how does the baby sleep? I'm like, now I know this baby having some headaches when she wake up and she doesn't even realize it, right? And because of that, the little girl was extremely dry too, because she had so many beads. Out of sight, out of mind. So the mom didn't think to say, you know what, at least let me grease her scalp. I got the hair under control, but at least let me grease her scalp. She couldn't because she wasn't thinking about it. Out of sight, out of mind. She just know that she did her hair and that thing gonna last at least 2 to 3 weeks, and that's what she needs. She need a break, and I get it. So instead of doing that, right, instead of putting those tight things in her hair, one of the things that you could do is just do a nice ponytail. Remember back in the day we had knockers? Just understand the tension that you're putting on the hair. And beads should not be from the root all the way to the end. Now, it's a cute style, and I get it. I'm like, why do they do that? I realize the reason why you guys are doing that is because maybe she want long hair and her hair is not as long, so you put the beads in and it's the baby turning and she could be like, oh, hitting it. You know, she can hear her hair moving. So it makes her feel good, and I get it. But it can't be at the expense of her losing her hair. By the time she's in junior high, she already has traction alopecia. So that's the first problem, right? So that's number one. Number two, the relaxers. Now, as we see, we got a lot of people going around. They're doing a lot of class action lawsuits, different things like that concerning relaxers, right? So the chemicals are really strong on us, and they're causing different things. And I know because I get relaxers. Now, I get relaxers at least 3 to 4 times a year, right? I don't do it as often as I used to, but we're doing the relaxers, right? And so just imagine this little girl I saw, it's always ate up in the back, right? So it's a lot of times you see it ate up in the back because that means the relaxer was put on too long. A lot of us, I have talked to people who said, oh, I did a relaxer. I ain't use that neutralizing shampoo. I used the conditioning shampoo. Excuse me? But the neutralizing shampoo stops the hair process from processing the relaxer. Otherwise, you can't, it's formaldehyde. You can't get that out like that. It doesn't go out with water. So a lot of you are putting relaxers in your children's hair, your daughter, maybe even your son, but you're not doing it correctly, right? And then they're too young. Their hair follicles are so young. The little girl was 5 years old. I asked her, how old is she? 5 years old, and she was already introduced to a relaxer. And I try to give you videos that where you don't feel like you're being judged, but like I'm helping you, educate you to say, don't do that, right? So now let's think about that. Remember back in the days, some of you may do, some of you may not because you're younger, but back in the days we had it where they had Just For Me, hey, or PCJ. I actually went to the Just For Me guy party in Chi-Town. I think it was PCJ, one of them, the owners of the relaxer, the family. And it said it was a texturizer. You know why they called it a texturizer? Because even the person that made that product understood that if you say texturizer, we would understand not to try to get the hair bone straight. But a lot of us do try to get the hair bone straight, which is the first problem, right? And so there was a time, and really I'm gonna be honest, texturizers are relaxers. It's just the timing of how long you're gonna keep the relaxer in that will let you know whether or not the hair what curl pattern do you want. So it starts off, it's gonna loosen a curl, then if you keep coming through it, it's gonna loosen it some more to the point it can get bone straight. When it gets bone straight, just think about our hair. The peptide bonds, it's called peptide bonds, they break. We're reforming the hair with the relaxer, so the curl pattern is going loose and looser with the formaldehyde. So now we turn around, now we want it bone straight. Well, guess what? Her hair follicle can't take all of that. And a lot of times I always see it break off in the back because when you're washing the hair, you can't get it all the way under the sink or whatever the case may be, but you're not getting all of that relaxer out of the hair. So guess what? It eats it up, it breaks off and it eats up. And I did a video on apogee. Y'all can check that out. You can look at that. But if you start seeing the hair shedding a lot, go in with the neutralizing shampoo. If you still want to do the relaxer, even though I'm educating you on why you should not at such a young age, go in with the neutralizing shampoo and then go back in and make sure you get all of the hair and wash all of it and then go back in with a conditioning shampoo and it should stop it. And if not, put the apogee on. Don't put a protein until 2 weeks later, because if you put a protein treatment on right after relaxer, it will revert the relaxer and your hair will look like it's got new growth in it. So you don't want to do that. See these tricks and trades? That's why I love cosmetology. I love this arts and science to cosmetology. All right, so number one, the knockers and the beads. No. Traction alopecia. Number two, relaxers. No. Too young. Hair follicles not strong. If we got class action lawsuits, what do you think is going on with your baby under the age of 4? I've seen babies at as young as 3 years old with relaxers. Two young ladies. If they're crying, because I know what y'all say, well, we get it because they be crying when I'm doing their hair. Here's another alternative way you can do that. You can fix that. My daughter, super tender-headed. You touch it. And don't be doing her hair in front of her dad. She used to take it to the next level. I said, nah, it don't hurt that bad. But they be doing the most because the daddy be like, what you doing to my baby? Right? So if you got one of those kids and they have a lot of tension, I mean, they're super tender-headed. It's grown people that's super tender-headed. That's why they do their hair at home, because hairstylists just be combing through their hair and they're like, I'm dying, right? So what you can do is wash the hair, saturate it with a creamy, once you wash the hair twice with a hydrating, conditioning shampoo. We used to use Cream of Nature. I don't know if they still got Cream of Nature, but back in the day, Cream of Nature was great. Bring that pH balance down to 5.5, had that hair all soft and nice. So a good conditioning shampoo, then you go back in, and I don't care what conditioner, as long as it's creamy, saturate the hair from root to end, even massage the scalp with that conditioner. Let the baby be like, oh yeah. Section the hair small, take a paddle brush, brush through that hair, take a wide tooth comb, brush through that hair, plait it all the way through, right? Then put a plastic cap on it and let them sit like that for hours. If 2 hours or more is great, right? Then you want to rinse the hair out real good. You want to blow dry it on low heat. You want to blow dry each section of the hair. You're going to section it small. You're going to blow dry each section of the hair. And then once you blow dry each section of the hair, then you can do what you want to do. If you want to press it out, you can press it out, or and give it that nice silky look. You don't want to put fire on it. Don't put no 425. 325 or the most 340, but not, I mean 240, but nothing over no, yeah, 340, depending on the texture of the hair. If it's too fine, don't go high on that, and you'll know. If you can smell the hair, you're burning it. How about that? So you do that, or you can braid that hair up and do a natural hairstyle, and a natural protective hairstyle without anything, and sit her in the mirror, talk to her, tell her how beautiful she is. Even your son, oh, you're handsome or whatever, you doing their hair the same way. Do that and teach them that. Those are the alternative ways where you can bring that pH balance down, soften the hair, and you can loosen up that curl pattern without chemically burning their hair or without them frying out their hair follicles. And then they have trouble as years go on as far as embracing their hair, right? So we did that. And last but not least, the braids. I don't understand why kids, I seen a lady put a lace front, I think it was on TikTok. She had a lace front on a little girl, and that baby was crying. I started crying because she had put the glue on her and everything. I was like, she had nappy hair, and this was in Africa. I'm like, you could have braided that, because they strong in braids. So I'm just like, why did she do that to that baby, right? And all the women's laying around, and then she curled it, and they thought that was cute. No, it wasn't cute. It was really, really sad. To me, it was like on the borderline of some stuff, right? And so when you're dealing with the braids, that's another thing. We already know now they're talking about the carcinogen that are in the canaculon hair, right? So why are we doing that to our daughter's hair? So we put the braids in, we're braiding it tight, we're braiding it down, and guess what? We want to keep them braids in for, I done seen little girls 2-3 months with the same braids in until they get matted up, till they don't have no choice and take it out, right? So you saying, well, her hair done grew out. Yeah, her hair done grew out, but it's so much damage to it between the dryness from the chemicals that was in the hair braiding, to the fact that that there was no treatment done here, no wash, no nothing for months at a time. Guess what? That baby has learned how to avoid her hair. That baby has learned that her hair is not good, right? And that baby has learned bad practice. Child, I'm gonna do the same thing so I won't have to be bothered. And guess what? This is a cycle that we deal with on a normal basis. That's why in our community, we are experiencing hair loss. It is over, I think it's how many millions of women. I gotta look at the statistics again. I think it was like at 3 million, something like that, women dealing with hair loss. But in the Black community, we are dealing with hair loss because of bad practices. That means that we don't really have to deal with hair loss, but we're dealing with it because we refuse to learn about our hair. We refuse to change the way we see our hair. We refuse to have, we care more about the weave. We care more about what everybody is wearing instead of taking care of ourselves, right? And so that's the biggest issue. So the reason why I'm doing this video is that there's nothing wrong with any of these things. Well, it has its complications, right? The weave, the chemical, and the tightness, the traction alopecia. We already know what it can do. However, but what we can do is we could change our different methods, and in the process, we can teach our children how to love their hair and say, hey, this is what you do at this. If you want to do that, you can. Like my daughter, I didn't raise her with weaving her hair, but as she got older, she wanted to try different things, but she loves her hair. Like I taught her at a young age, you got nice afro curly hair, love your hair. And I sit in the mirror and I tell her how beautiful she was. And there's a video going around, I think it was on Instagram, where it was a Black woman and she had a daughter, and a little girl, you can see the excitement on her face when her mom puts her in front of that mirror and she said, I'm beautiful. And she tells her all those things, and the little girl like, yes. And then she's doing her hair while she's talking. And that's a beautiful thing, because we need more of that. We have to stop doing this to our children. They have to be educated. And guess what? We can break the cycle, because the only reason why you're wearing weave and being like my mom, remember I told you that story about my mom where she wanted a relaxer every 2 weeks? I'm like, lady, that is your DNA. You can't change curly hair, right? She wanted a relaxer. If you can understand all the things that you're doing now that you know that done led to your sometimes hair loss or hair thinning or whatever the case may be, you know what it's doing. So guess what? If you could break the cycle with your babies, that would be so great. That would be so great. And then they can have the option when they get older to do whatever. It's just like anything in life. Like, you know, when you want your kids to have options, say, now this is the way it's going to be. Like, I didn't get a relaxer until I was 13. But even when I got the relaxer when I was 13, I kind of knew that something was wrong with it. I felt like it was a negative connotation to my hair, right? So I already felt like that. And guess what? I was doing what my mom was doing, getting relaxers back to back to back. Thank God I'm not dealing with any cancer or anything like that. But I was doing the same thing because my mom taught me at age 13, it's time to get a relaxer. But then I know women who, white women, black women, or whatever, who have had natural hair, never colored their hair, never put a chemical, nothing in their hair, and their hair is beautiful and flourishing. But if they want the option to do something different, they can, because they got the chance to accept their hair. They were taught, a lot of them, and when you see women that have virgin hair, they were taught that, hey, your hair is beautiful, and they fell in love with their hair, and they didn't do anything to it, right? So now when they come of age, or when they say, you know what, I want to do some highlights or whatever, it's not going to affect them the way it's going to affect you, because you've been doing all of these bad practices from 2, 3, 10, 13, all the way up, that by the time your babies are adults, adolescents, high school, they are experiencing hair loss in some way, shape, or form. If I do a statistic and I say, and I put it out there and just get the numbers of how many of us have experienced hair loss from elementary all the way to adulthood, and just have you write the age, I guarantee it's going to be a few people on here saying yes. So the whole purpose of this video, as I seen those beautiful little girls and I saw what was going on, and the mom looked like she had a hard days of work, she tired, and she may don't have the money to pay somebody to do their hair, so she doing the best she can. But even in the best you can, guys, teach them right, teach them to accept themselves. That's why we have so many women and men that are walking around broken and don't understand who they are. They don't have any understanding because no one sat and taught their parents, right? And I'm kind of going off, but I just want you to understand the importance. We don't understand it, but the importance is like other people, when their kids are young, they teach them about money. We're not taught about money. We taught how to spend money. We taught how to figure out the easiest way to have an easier life, which we really don't. We have it more hard. We're taught that, but we're not taught how to, a lot of us, I'm not saying all of us, a lot of us are taught not how to have money. It's the same thing. A lot of us are taught not how, we're taught to not accept ourselves, to accept our natural hair. Now, and I'm telling y'all this story, and I have extensions in, but for the most part, you go back on my videos, you will not see me with extensions. This is in because I am shooting a movie. Now, we did that part. I think the only other time you may see me in extensions again is when we have to do our photo shoot. We have a photo shoot for the cover. But I don't really embrace extensions. Not that I got a problem with extensions, but I understand that the modest, be modest with things. You know, you can't be so, it's like be sober with it. Be like, have balance. There's always has to be a balance. You can't be doing 80% of extensions and chemicals and then 20% natural hair. That's not a that's not a protective hairstyle. And for those of you who keep saying that's a protective hairstyle, it's not. Protective hairstyle is you doing your own hair and putting the stuff in it that's nurturing your hair, that's teaching, that's a natural hairstyle. But the extensions, and the different the extensions and stuff like that you're wearing on a constant basis, like 11 months out the year, and 1 month you want to give your hair a break, or maybe 3 days out the month, when you take your hair out, you see it get long, you want to wear it out, and you're like, oh, it ain't acting right. That's not that. The protective hairstyle is when you want to wear your hair, not pressing it out, not silk rubbing. I'm talking about some just wearing your hair different styles. And I see, it's a girl, my realtor, she is gorgeous. She is so beautiful. She gonna be like, oh my God, Lee, you talking about me on the video? She is beautiful. And she came and she had her hair twisted back, and all you could do is see her face. And I'm like, this girl says, I think she almost 40, and she looks stunning. I'm like, girl, no makeup, looks beautiful. but she was taught at a young age. And she's teaching her daughters. She has daughters. She said, I'm teaching them the same thing. So give your babies a chance. Stop teaching them bad practices, y'all. Stop doing this to their hair so they can have some hair in the later years of their life, okay? I pray this video helps you. Please comment, like, share, subscribe. I appreciate you. This channel is to talk about the realities of things. Sometimes it may trigger you. Sometimes you may not like what is being said, but know that it's only to help you, all right? I appreciate you guys. I will see you next video. Bye.